How are you today? It's Melissa with Hang In There. I'm grateful to all of you listening right now. Thank you for helping us spread our message. To those of you feeling hopeless today, we extend hope. To anyone feeling alone or trapped, we bring togetherness. To those of you feeling confused, we aim to offer clarity. To everyone who has escaped, you are inspirational, and may you heal. To all who have been abused or are currently living through it, along with everyone who's been affected by abuse, we fight for you, and we understand. You are not alone anymore. I remember thinking, I wish he'd just hit me, because I truly believed it would have hurt less, but also because then I would have had proof. I know I spoke that out loud to him a handful of times. It was as if he knew not to cross that line with me. Was he getting pleasure from this game? Was he aware that there was no chance of the police acknowledging the abuse the kids and I were experiencing unless there were bruises present? Back then it felt as if the law had just dismissed my safety, but also my children's safety. And that for sure had me questioning myself in the beginning. It was extremely frustrating and so maddening. Imagine enduring hours-long episodes of screaming, swearing, name-calling, blaming that were absolutely relentless. All from a simple question or disagreement, to the point where it would become exhausting and so confusing. Then simply having no words, no argument left, nothing making sense. How can everything be one person's fault? I never felt like everything was my blame to take. I blocked out as much as I could and just focused on passing time, making sure the kids weren't close by or trying to minimize the volume. I was wrong any way I played it. If I didn't talk and just let him dish it out, I was a condescending B-word, acting better than him. And if I spoke up, possibly defended myself, I was also condescending, and that would provoke a huge escalation in anger. I didn't want the kids to hear these things. If I tried to quiet him down, it became twice as loud. It was a vicious method to subdue me, but it worked. And then after that, depending on the time of day, I was expected to provide a clean slate. And I hate that term to this day. I was expected to forgive and be a loving, happy wife, whether it was hours after or the next morning. It was expected that I acted as if I respected him and never brought it up again. If I didn't provide that, I was holding grudges unreasonably and would hear all about how awful of a person I was. I want to explain something right now. When I recall disturbing memories, different symptoms arise in me. I'm feeling nauseous. I'm literally sick from saying the words clean slate. I can hardly say it out loud. My feet and legs are tingling. They almost feel like they're floating or weightless. My body and mind feels like they are right back there in that moment. I'm sad and angry. I have 20 years of memories in my mind that come up whenever they want, provoked by my environment or music, dreams, words I hear, or things I remember. And I never know when they're going to happen, when they're going to come up in my days. And that makes me very anxious. And I know the best way for me to deal with these feelings and symptoms is to talk about it. It's not right. I'm disgusted talking about these things. I don't want anyone to hear it. One night I woke up and had a thought, and I wrote in my phone, it's the deep, dark memories that burn the most when I dig them up. Or when they decide to make their presence known. It's so disturbing. Feels like I'm right back there, helpless and alone. Just gonna take a second right now. I know I'm not the only one experiencing this. To anyone battling this or similar issues, I am sorry. It's terribly hard. I do want to keep going. I noticed very early on in that relationship that events were very sporadic. Probably more than I caught on to or remember, though. In the beginning, I admit I let a lot of it pass. I think they were smaller, less obvious abusive behaviors that were really hard to pinpoint and were very confusing for me. Looking back, it almost feels as if they were tests to see how I'd react to the smaller stuff, to see if I would catch on or confront it. Have you ever wondered if what you are experiencing is abuse? If you're not being physically hit, this can be very confusing. Do you know or suspect someone you care about is being abused? To someone like me who grew up in a non-abusive family, I began then to ask myself questions. I remember wondering why anyone, especially the person I was married to and had children with, would behave that way on purpose. I just couldn't wrap my head around it. And then I would think, did I misinterpret something? Or is this what an angry man looks like? My dad was never angry. And then I thought, no, this wasn't my fault. This wasn't the kids' fault. I knew it to my core. But man, was he good at making my head spin. As time went on, I was certain that I didn't deserve any of it. I was confident that I did not provoke this level of anger. It was nothing I did. I was so careful all the time. It took time, but then I realized it was his lack of self-control, his lack of communication skills, his weakness that he would speak to his wife the way he did or speak to his children the way he did. I just could never understand. We need to talk openly and honestly about abuse. We need to talk loudly. We need everyone to hear. What does it look like? It can be so incredibly hard to distinguish, especially if there are no bruises, especially if it's strictly non-physical abuse. There are many types of non-physical abuse, though. A person in this situation experiences a lot of confusion early on, just trying to put their finger on it. I want to stress this. Most people feel something is wrong well before they know for a fact they're being abused. Something doesn't feel right. It often happens gradually, and it can mimic concern, discipline, or even love. It is extremely subtle and sneaky. An example of this would be if a person's abuser suggests getting the Life 360 app for a new driver in the family, just to have reassurance that that driver is safe on the road. But then adds that it would be great for the entire household to know each other's location at all times. For those of you who don't know, the Life 360 app is an app that tracks a person's movement and location. It shares real-time locations. It notifies people when a person arrives or leaves any location. It also follows driving behaviors. It will identify if a person is using the phone while they're driving, along with many other functions. I want you to think about this for a moment. If an abuser approaches the person they are abusing and asks them to join a tracking app, and that victim says no, they are uncomfortable, imagine how that looks. I can picture the abuser saying something such as, "What do you have to hide?" Or, "Why would it matter if I know where you are?" Now, this mimics loving concern, right? But this can quickly turn into a safety issue, along with feeding an abuser's need to control. So what can help us recognize abuse sooner? Let's talk about the signs and also the feelings associated with different forms of abuse. If you're unsure whether what you are experiencing is abuse, I've got a series of questions here and some examples. We can go through them. Do you ever feel like you're anxious or fearful, like you're walking on eggshells around this person? Are you afraid to make them angry? Do they frequently criticize or belittle you? And this can come across as if they're joking. It is still inappropriate. Do they twist reality, deny things they said, or make you question your own memory? Do they say you're being too sensitive? Do you feel as if you have control over your own decisions? Do they like to control who you talk to, where you go, or what you do? Are you allowed to leave the house alone? If you do, are you questioned unnecessarily or excessively when you get back? Do they use silent treatment, withdrawal of affection, or other emotional punishments to manipulate you? Do they threaten to harm themselves or others if you don't do what they want? This is abusive. Are they using your kids against you? Are they threatening to take your kids from you? Have they discouraged or prevented you from seeing family, friends, or support networks? Are they finding your family or friends to be bad influences on you? Or not good enough for you? Do they control your access to money, transportation, or important resources? Is there an unusual interest in combining bank accounts or sharing passwords? Do they monitor your phone, your emails? Have you ever caught him or her trying to open your phone when you set it down or when you go to sleep? Are you asked excessively for passwords without reason? Do they yell or use aggressive language to intimidate you? Do they make threats, even if they say they're just kidding? I could go on and on. Do they demand access to your phone, social media, or bank accounts? Do they prevent you from working? Do they take their money? I want you to know there are reasonable people, amazing people in this world. We don't have to settle for this. Do you feel like you're losing your sense of self? A lot of people in these situations agree just to keep the peace, even if it means they have to give up their own beliefs. And that is numbing over time. Do you ever make excuses for their behavior? Or blame yourself for how they're treating you? Do you feel stuck? Do you feel afraid to leave? If you recognize any of these signs in your relationship, whether it's with a partner, a family member, a friend, an employer, you may be experiencing abuse. Abuse is not just physical. Emotional or psychological harm is just as valid. Each of these categories and questions and examples we spoke of just now are all precursors to physical abuse. That means that many times these examples, these behaviors will happen before they begin to physically abuse you. If we can identify these red flags and get out, we're going to be safer than if we were to stay through them. I really hope the information presented here can help. Statistically, half of the world's population, both 48% of men and 48% of women, are experiencing or have experienced psychological abuse or aggression in their lifetime. If this hasn't touched half of you listening in some way, I would be incredibly surprised. Please pass this along. Please spread the strength here. Nearly 50% of the world's population. We need to come together. We need to help one another here, not judge. We need to talk about these things. All right, it's time for me to take a second and breathe. This conversation has been very heavy. Please take this time to regroup with me if you feel it's appropriate. This has been such a powerful conversation. My intent with this podcast as a whole is to help people. I truly hope this reaches the right person or even number of people and changes the direction of your lives for the better. Identifying abuse is difficult, especially if a person is not being hit. If you are confused, you're not alone. If you are trapped and have no proof the law can see, document it. Dates, times, brief descriptions. These will eventually prove a pattern. But please protect yourself. Hide your documentation well. Keep it in places you won't forget, where your abuser won't look. If you're lucky enough to have a trusted person, give your documents to them. I understand if many of you don't. I really want to stress that we need to stop thinking abusers will magically change. And we need to reclaim our lives. We only get one. And it's your life, not someone else's, to dictate or live. Freedom is beautiful. I remember going to Target at 9 p.m. and just feeling so free. It was such a treat to do dishes at 11 p.m. And I get the biggest smile on my face, vacuuming at midnight because I can. I promise you'll appreciate it so much more when you have your freedom back. You may have lost it for a little while, but you can get it back. There will be resources listed on hanginthere.net for anyone who wants to dig further. I'm posting information for the National Domestic Violence Hotline. That website address is just thehotline.org. They've got a phone number listed. That phone number is 1-800-799-SAFE. 1-800-799-7233. They have a chat box. They have really great information. Look for your local shelters, but be careful if you're going online. Watch your search history. If you don't know how to delete it, learn. I called the Geek Squad. Best Buy's Geek Squad will walk you through how to delete your search history. But be careful. You need to do it safely. Otherwise, the library is a great option to go to for some privacy if you can get there safely. I want to thank you for taking time to listen and participate in this attempt to make a difference. Please remember that even if this isn't relevant to you personally, you may be able to help a person close to you or someone else you know. Tell them to listen. Tell them you are not judging them. Tell them you only want to help. And don't forget to subscribe. Let's build an army here. Feel free to leave a review on hanginthere.net or on Instagram. We will have updates and more information on both. Your support helps us to continue these very important conversations. Thank you, and hang in there, because sometimes that's all we can do.